What's up, everybody? It's Pichael. Let's take a look at the Cleveland Browns. So, first, let's see how they did last year. They were a disappointment. 6-10. A lot of people had high hopes for them in fantasy, and they disappointed everybody. They will play the AFC South and the NFC East, which is not as good as I thought it would be at first, but I do like their games against the NFC East. I think that those games have the chance of producing really good fantasy games, especially when Odell plays the Giants. That'll be wild. Someone will get thrown out of that game. I'll tell you that much. The win total for the Browns is 8.5. 8.5. That definitely seems doable. Definitely seems doable. So let's take a look at their odds to win the Super Bowl. The Browns are... Where are the Browns? Plus 4,000. Wow. That's interesting. I guess they probably still have some people who want to put money on the Browns. So let's see who they lost. Demetrius Harris, I don't care. Kirksey, Philip Gaines, TJ Carey, Elijah McGuire, Ricky Seals-Jones. Most of these players don't really mean much to me. Andrew Sendejo. That's Sendejo from... I don't hate Sendejo. He's a pretty good safety. Adrian Claiborne, I feel like that's a big name. Maybe he's been underperforming, but I don't hate that name either. Kevin Johnson is a good player. Austin Hooper is a good player. Carl Joseph, I think, was a disappointment in Oakland. BJ Goodson, I think, is a good player. Jojo Natson, I don't really care. Trayvon Young, Olumba. I don't remember what the issues were for the Browns last year. I think it was just like mismanaging games, Baker throwing interceptions, all that kind of stuff. So if they disappointed everybody, they should be a sharp side this year. But at 8.5, I feel like they're trying to scare the sharps off. So maybe, just maybe, the books believe in Baker Mayfield and the Browns. So let's take a look at the depth chart. For season long, I'm not that interested in Baker Mayfield. If I was forced to have him as a part of a 2 QB team, where like he's my backup, I feel like that's okay. I don't think I'd really want him as my starter. If you're streaming quarterbacks, maybe he makes sense. For best ball, I think he would have to be on a team with either 2 or even 3 quarterbacks. That would kind of scare me, having to depend on him often, but maybe that's why he's a good pick. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are both going to be pretty popular for best ball and season long. Odell, obviously, is a very good player. You might dislike his attitude, but he is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. I think that's not even questionable. Jarvis Landry, Rashard Higgins. Higgins is an interesting late round target. Donovan Peoples-Jones, don't really have that much interest in him. Austin Hooper and David Njoku are both in play as tight ends. Njoku, I think he was going to sit out, but he's back now. So let's see. Do I like the Browns enough for fantasy? I don't like Nick Chubb as much as most people. I think he's obviously a very good player. In best ball leagues especially, he makes a lot of sense. But you need to pick him at the end of the first round, and I think for the most part, I prefer getting one of the very good wide receivers instead of Nick Chubb. I think Kareem Hunt will still have a role to play in this offense, and he's obviously a very talented player, but I don't know how much upside there really is unless Nick Chubb gets hurt. So maybe Actually, maybe that's a good reason to be low on Nick Chubb. He basically got the first 8 weeks by himself, right? But he was still crushing it at the end of the season. So, I don't know. I don't want to outthink myself there. I think that they're both just good players, depending on where you can get them in a draft. They probably make sense. Odell, there's a lot of negative sentiment around Odell, so I think this year specifically, he's going to be an amazing option for best ball, for DraftKings in general. I will have a lot of Odell because he has one of the highest upsides in the NFL week to week. Jarvis Landry had a lot of good weeks last year. He's another player that I think makes sense for best ball. So if you get Odell and you get Jarvis Landry, I could see doing that with Baker, Odell, Jarvis. I think Rashard Higgins could be a nice addition in those kinds of rosters as well. So I would definitely be interested in a team like that, and then maybe pick up Austin Hooper or David Njoku later in the draft as well. I think they make sense for the core. Maybe core is not the right word. They do make sense. It makes a lot of sense to me. I think I will have some teams where I am big on the Browns. In terms of their win total, I think the sharp side is probably betting the over. And you'd really need them to get to 9. So if you're considering that bet, I would say look at their schedule, and if you feel very good about like 6 wins, then you should probably bet the over, because there are some other games that they should be able to steal. It looks like they did get some defensive upgrades, so that should be good. The Browns, they're sneaky this year. You definitely want to be early on the Browns, because if they pop off and realize the potential that everyone thought they had last year, then you're going to be kicking yourself for not having them on your teams. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.